Hey EBC Kids, we made it! Thanks for sticking with us all the way through. We've looked at a lot of big questions this fall, and today we're going to look at one more big question, and appropriately we've saved this one for the end. And the question is, what happens when we die? We probably don't think about that question very much because we don't die very often, right? But we encounter death, we experience it through pets maybe, or even family members or grandparents, and it's an important question to have an answer to. Jesus grew very close to his disciples when he was living with them here on earth. And when he knew the time was getting close, that he was going to be separated from them, he gave them some encouragement. He said these words to him in the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse 1 through 4. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe in me also. There are many rooms in my Father's house. If this were not true, would I have told you that I am going there? Would I have told you that I would prepare a place for you there? If I go and do that, I will come back, and I will take you to be with me. Then you will also be where I am. You know the way to the place where I am going. Now at the time that was a little bit confusing for the disciples, but after Jesus had risen from the dead and conquered death, he came back with them and he explained things to them some more, and he told them what he wanted them to do. And in the first chapter of Acts, after he had explained some of these things to them, he had been visiting them for about 40 days after he was raised from the dead. He was suddenly picked up by God and carried to heaven, right up through the clouds. And as they were staring off at Jesus, who was now gone, angels came and explained to them that Jesus had been taken away from them into heaven. But that's where he was going. And he explained that he was preparing a place for them there because one day he wanted them to be with him in heaven. Now, that's pretty encouraging. That's pretty exciting news. That if you believe that Jesus is the Son of God and that he paid the penalty and forgave your sins, and if you surrender to him, then the part of you that thinks and feels and really is who you are, that spirit part of you gets to go be with God in heaven. And I don't entirely know what that's going to be like, but I can tell you it's a place you want to be. It's described a little bit in Revelations chapter 21. Listen to what it says about heaven. Revelations chapter 21, verses 3 and 4. Look, God now makes his home with the people. He will live with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death. There will be no more sadness. There will be no more crying or pain. Things are no longer the way they used to be. You see, this world isn't the way God designed it to be. And our sin caused that. And that means we're living in what we call a fallen world. It's not living completely under God's reign with God's righteousness. And we have to suffer through a lot of things like pain, like death and separation. But God has promised that he overcame that. And God has promised that we can overcome that as well through faith in his Son. So what happens when you die? If you have faith in God, then you get to be with him in heaven.